Hello bunny friends! Today I will share a few tips, do's and don'ts on how to keep your outdoor bunnies cool during the summer. This video is a collaboration with Nabzventures N.A.Y. So while I cover the topic of outdoor bunnies, she will give you tips on how to keep your indoor bunnies cool. Check out her video at the first link in the description box down below. Now let's get into it. Bunnies are very sensitive when it comes to hot weather, as they prefer temperatures no higher than 75 degrees Fahrenheit or 25 degrees Celsius. Bunnies also don't have sweat glands on their skin, which is why they require the support of their owners to help keep them cool during higher temperatures. The basics are providing them fresh water in a bowl throughout the day, as well as plenty of shade and leafy greens to help keep them hydrated. Tip number 1 is to make a DIY cooling bottle where they can lean against. You just need a plastic bottle, fill it with water, but leave some space because once it freezes the water will expand. Best is to make them overnight so they are fully frozen and ready to go in the morning. If your bunny is very sensitive or likes to chew on plastic, you can also put a sock on the bottle to prevent this from happening. I usually just lay 1 or 2 bottles in their enclosure around noon when it gets the hottest, and as you can see, they definitely use it. It might take some time, but most bunnies really do appreciate it. Tip number 2 is to feed foods with high water content. For example, watermelon, leafy salads, maybe even a cucumber, and so forth. Now you want to be careful with watermelon and cucumber and just feed it as a cooling snack and not part of their main diet. 4 out of my 5 bunnies absolutely love watermelon, and it helps to keep them hydrated and cool. You can also store the bunny food in the fridge so it provides a bit more of a cooling effect. But don't feed anything frozen because that actually promotes the body to produce heat from within. Tip number 3 is to make it rain. Now you might think, what is she talking about? I am not God, I can't make it rain. Hear me out first, because if you have outdoor bunnies and you keep them in an enclosure, you probably have a roof on top. And what I like to do is spraying cold water on the roof in the morning and also on the floor so that the sun doesn't turn that setup into a greenhouse or sauna. You obviously have to be careful not to spray the water on the bunnies, but so far that never happened to me. Another tip is to use tiles in their enclosure, which also gives a cooling effect. Now lastly, what to avoid and what not to do. You want to avoid direct sunlight. This can easily result in a deadly heat stroke, which unfortunately happens to a lot of bunnies every summer. You also want to avoid temperatures above 34 degrees Celsius or 93 Fahrenheit, I think, even if your bunnies have shade. This is just too much for a bunny to take, and they can easily start to hyperventilate if they are exposed to these temperatures for a couple of hours. You can move them to an area where there is no sun, but make sure it's not a cellar or something. You will also want to avoid using water bottles for drinking, simply because they can barely get anything out of them, and especially when it's hot they need more hydration, so you want to use a ceramic bowl instead. Now what you really should not do is to bathe your rabbit or put it in a swimming pool. There are a million reasons why you shouldn't do it, but let me just keep it short and say don't do it, it only has downsides. You also do not want to feed your bunny hay only because it's very dry and dehydrating. So make sure to feed tons of leafy greens, and if you can, go foraging, because nature provides what bunnies really need, and for example, a fresh dandelion is not only healthier, but also contains much more water than any type of hay. The 2 no-goes are keeping a bunny in an outdoor hutch during the summer, because it's basically just like keeping a dog inside a hot car. This can lead to a heat stroke super quickly, and hutches are bad for a number of reasons beside that. The second one is to move your bunny to a very cold area, for example a cellar, for a couple of hours. The reason why it's an absolute no-go is the temperature difference, because if you take your bunny inside where it's probably a cool 60 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 to 20 degrees Celsius, and then you take it outside again where it's significantly warmer, this can very well result in hyperventilation, heat strokes, even when there is no direct sunlight, and your bunny could even catch a cold because of the unnatural temperature shift, not mentioning the long-term effects this can have. A short disclaimer at the end, because if you find your bunny breathing very heavily, laying on the floor, acting apathetic and feeling very hot, those are the signs of a potential heat stroke, and you should contact a vet immediately and take your bunny outside of the area. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. And I hope these tips will help you to keep your outdoor bunnies cool during the summer. Bye!